Occupy Wall Street. 10 ridiculous things that make you a terrorist suspect. Here's an article I found on the Activist Post, www.activistpost.com, dated December 13th, 2011. This article really fried my potatoes, and I want to read it to you. British hip-hop star Low-Key said, "I'm not anti-American. America is anti-me." I think that pretty much says it. You thought you weren't doing anything wrong, so why should you care about who they call a terrorist? Well, you may not believe it, but you're likely a terrorist suspect in America's new paradigm of the land of the fear. The government is casting a wide net over its citizens in its search for potential threats. Now you don't need to actually commit a crime to be hauled away to a detention center and held without charges while you are tortured. You just need to appear suspicious by sympathizing with anti-government views to be labeled a domestic terrorist. First, it's important to understand the official definition of domestic terrorism in the United States. The ACLU reports that a person is a domestic terrorist if they engage in any act dangerous to human life that appears to be intended to 1. To intimidate or coerce a civilian population. 2. To influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Or 3. To affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping. Although recent White House action plans claim to be targeting violent extremism in all its forms, the government itself is clearly guilty of countless acts dangerous to human life intended to coerce the civilian population, to influence the policy, and to affect the conduct of a government, but that's for another article. What's more disturbing is the government's expansion of guilty parties to terrorist sympathizers. This is where the net gets really large. What exactly constitutes sympathizing with a terrorist? Is questioning the imperial foreign policy and the destruction of civil liberties sympathizing with the enemy? In the U.S., it seems that if you don't agree with the violence and coercion America commits, then you're an anti-American terrorist sympathizer, as evidenced by peace organizations being added to the terror watch list. So what makes you a terror suspect in America? Here are 10 ridiculous things that make you a terrorist according to officials running the U.S. government. Tea Party activists. The political left demonized peaceful Tea Party activists as right-wing extremists, leading to the second most powerful official in the U.S. government, Vice President Joe Biden, to liken them to terrorists. Do you sympathize with those who are angry about bank bailouts on the backs of taxpayers? Well, you're likely a terrorist in the eyes of the state. Occupy activists. Now the Occupy movement, said to be made up of left-wing extremists, is enjoying the same treatment as the Tea Party right-wing extremists. The United Kingdom has officially labeled Occupy demonstrators as domestic terrorists. The U.S. hasn't gone quite that far, but the violent police state did spy them in search of domestic terrorists. Watch out, you may be a terror suspect if you sympathize with the 99%. 7 days of food. The Department of Justice and FBI considers you a terrorist threat if you have more than 7 days of food stored, as explained by Rand Paul on the Senate floor. Paul was referring to an official FBI Department of Justice flyer given out to business owners to help them identify potential threats. And recently, federal agents went to food storage facilities demanding customers lists, while citizens were harassed by the government with door-to-door assessments of their preparedness. Missing fingers. The document referred to by Rand Paul above also claims that if someone is missing a finger or has burn marks, they are more likely to be a terror suspect. Buying flashlights. Also from the same official source, if you're buying night vision devices such as flashlights, you should be considered a terror suspect. Paying cash at hotels. Watch out if you want to pay cash for hotel rooms. This Department of Homeland Security commercial indicates that you're a terror suspect if you do. The Department of Homeland Security has also launched their Citizen Spy program for hotels and has sent them hotel protection guidelines. which lists suspicious activities like persons carrying observation equipment or standing around in the same area. Texting privately in a public place, according to this Department of Homeland Security commercial for their citizen spy program. If you're texting while sitting in a public park but trying to keep it concealed from people who pass by, you should be reported